Hello, my name is Ali, and welcome to my channel. We are back with Hakuoki Kyoto wins Todo's route. Let's go.
Of course it does, Toudou. That's how it should be. Trust your instincts.
Sanan?
There's no reason to hold back. If you desire blood, then you shall drink it. How else can you quench your thirst?
Sanan! With dark eyes, Sanan invited Heisuke. He looked nothing like a human. Stop it, Sanan. You're going to confuse him.
Confuse? No, I don't think so. What I'm suggesting is only natural. If your body needs blood to survive, then why shouldn't you oblige it? Telling a fury not to drink blood is like telling a human not to eat. Are you saying you'd rather he starve to death?
Well, I guess if there was no other way to rid yourself of the pain, then you'd have no other choice, but...
We aren't humans anymore. We're furies. I can understand the pain he feels in a way you never will. In a sense, Heisuke and I are brothers, you might say.
He was right. As a fury, he would know what Heisuke was going through far better than I could. But the Heisuke that I knew wasn't the type of person to accept readily the idea of drinking the blood of humans. Just then, Sanan, I appreciate that you're sticking up for me, but she knows me pretty well. Probably more than you know me, Sanan. Heisuke. Ugh. The pain he was feeling had brought him to his looked up. What? I'm guessing to his knees. The pain he was feeling had brought him to his knees, looked up at Sanan and me with a grin. I'm just gonna move on. That sentence is just... I don't know. Heisuke, are you alright? Does it hurt?
You must have bloodlust. He smelt all the blood.
Let's look at our glossary or encyclopedia. And we are... Oh, wrong one. We're going to go to bloodlust. Bloodlust, a term used in reference for the ravenous thirst for blood that one develops after becoming a fury. Okay. No! Heisuke looked pained, but he tried desperately to smile and look up. Don't worry, okay? I'm not going to drink blood. That's not something a human would do, right?
You still consider yourself human? A shame. You aren't. Binding yourself to human morals and values is foolish.
Heisuke glared deeply at Sanan, but Sanan didn't flinch, or even react really, in the slightest by Heisuke's gesture.
I, too, was once where you are now. I understand what you feel. If you are determined to refrain from blood, here.
What's this?
A medicine Dr. Matsumoto made for us. It can suppress the bloodlust.
Let's go back to the encyclopedia again. And we're going to look up medicine. Used to treat fury bloodlust. Prepared by Dr. Matsumoto. I swear. There's no need for the encyclopedia if it's going to say the same thing right there. I guess if you want to go back and read, I don't know. Really? I paused for a moment. Could such a thing really exist? But a muffled groan of pain from Heisuke brought me back to my senses. If it could help him, there was nothing to contemplate. Thank you, Sanan.
I'm hardly doing him a favor. This is a temporary measure at best. In the end, it will likely only prolong his suffering. A fury's pain will never truly depart until he drinks blood.
Then he turned and walked off, but I had better things to do than watch him go. Heisuke's hair had turned white again, and his eyes were now a deep red. He moaned in pain. I had to do something to help him. We are going to... Do we really have to do that? We have to make him endure it. Oh gosh, okay. He just said he didn't want to drink blood. That's what he told me. If that's what Heisuke wants, then I must do my best to honor it.
It's okay. Don't worry.
Heisuke was smiling, but I could see the cold sweat dripping down his forehead. He'd never gotten like this before, and even during the days of his training sessions, he kept his composure well.
Hey, Chizuru, can you go over there for a second? I don't want you to see this part of me.
Heisuke. I was too concerned to leave his side, but even then, please let me know if there's anything I can do for you. I walked away from him, hanging out a little distance away, but I kept him in view.
Damn it. Why does it hurt so much?
I could hear his suffering from where I stood, and it filled me with sadness. Heisuke. Heisuke.
It'll be all right, Chizuru. I won't lose to this.
I bit my lip. Time passed, and I prayed for his bloodlust to pass. All I could pray was for his safety. Before long, the magistrate's office was in flames, and we were forced to retreat. Even that was nearly a failure as well. The Imperial Army's weapons were far more advanced than anything we'd seen before, and we didn't know how to counter them. Our retreat degenerated into chaos, and Heisuke and I found ourselves separated from the rest of the Shinsengumi. There was no way for us to know who else might have survived, but we both knew where those who had would go. Osaka Castle. Yoshinobu was there, as was Kondo. What other destination could there be? Oh, jeez. I swear the noises are so loud on my end, but when I play it back trying to edit, it's really quiet on yours. Anyway, Heisuke and I chose to go through the forest and thereby avoid the Imperial Army, but it was January and the forest was dark and cold.
Are you doing all right, Chizuru?
I'm fine. I had done my best not to cause any more worry for Heisuke, but it was a cold January, and there was no light out, and we were surrounded by a freezing forest. We almost seemed imprisoned by the trees. All was still, and the only things moving were me and Heisuke paving the way ahead of me. I'm wondering if, Amagiri is going to show up. I don't know why, but I just feel it.
Usually I'd pick an easier path to walk, but we can't afford for the Satsuma Choshu troops to find us, so hang in there.
I'm fine. Don't worry about me. How about you, Heisuke? Are you okay? You've been walking a lot, too.
Of course I'm okay. I'm a city boy at heart, but the forest ain't too bad either.
No, I mean your fury thing. He's been taken by the bloodlust during the battle at the magistrate's office, but since then, he's seemed fine. Still, there's no guarantee that it wouldn't happen again. In fact, it was very likely that it would, and that worried me. He must have felt my eyes on him, because he sighed and lowered his sword from hacking away the underbrush.
I don't want blood. I was just thinking about Sanan.
Sanan? He'd become a fury long before Heisuke, so he'd been dealing with the bloodlust much longer. How was he coping with it? Heisuke turned and looked at me, and I could see that the very same thoughts were going through his head. He leaned closer to me and spoke in a whisper, as if he were afraid someone might be listening. I do apologize if you do hear thunder at some point. It's been off and on pouring here in Texas, so I do apologize.
I think Sanon's been drinking blood. I think that on the nights he goes out on patrol with the Fury Corps, he drinks blood from the men they kill.
What? Don't you think that's a little far-fetched?
Well, remember when the Fury Corps got into fights and their victims always seemed to have more sword cuts than they could have? I think it was them trying to cover up what they were doing.
Oh no. There was no denying that his argument made sense. I knew that there was something more to what Heisuke was saying. That he knew something, but I didn't want to believe it. I'd only met and known Sanan from what I'd seen of him since first living in the Shinsengumi. And perhaps more importantly, I knew just how much the Shinsengumi captains trusted him.
I'm a Fury. Now I understand. If nobody was there to stop me, there's a good chance I'd end up doing the same thing too.
Jeez. That was pretty rough. He looks so sad.
I remember what it felt like at the Aberona Koji. My chest hurt, and I could hardly breathe. Everything looked kind of dark. I wasn't thinking you can't die until you see justice done, or anything like that when I drank the water of life. The truth is, I was just scared. I didn't want to die. So that's why I went for the water of life.
The wind whipped his hair across his face, hiding it. I kept silent. Whatever his reason was for telling me all this, it probably wasn't to get me to give him advice.
I became a Fury so I could live. And now I'm wishing I'd never done that. Am I worth surviving at the cost of drinking other people's blood? I couldn't find an answer to that.
He laughed again, but it was easily the saddest sound I'd ever heard.
I felt that this is just like when I left the Shinsengumi to go with Ito. I thought this was the right choice for Japan, or at least that's what I told myself. But in the end, I couldn't even tell if Ito was the right choice anymore. When I heard that they were plotting to put the blame on the Shinsengumi for Ryoma's Sakamoto's assassination, I couldn't stop them at the end. I mean, I chose my own path. But every time I feel like I made the wrong decision, I regret it and just want to give up. I'm always like this. I'm pretty pathetic.
You're not the only person who does that.
What?
I couldn't stay silent any longer. I reached for him, and when our hands met, I felt him shiver. I do, and I'm sure all the other guys have regretted their choices sometimes too. I'm sure everyone just doesn't show it. Oh, his reaction's too cute. I felt him try to pull away, but my hand wrapped around his. Sometimes all I can think about is the things I've done that I regret. Oopsies. There are days when I hate myself. His hand felt cold, and I gripped it tighter. He didn't pull away. When I was still in Edo, working at my father's clinic, I remember there being a patient who had an incurable illness. When they'd learned about their illness, they were desperately frustrated, only focusing on the pain and unfairness of it all. But one day, this person stopped saying those things. I remembered they'd said, "This morning I threw grains in the yard, and sparrows came, and I found a beautiful flower in the yard." Whenever something good had happened, this person would talk about it. I think they realized that the good parts of life make living precious. I think that's how we get through life. I'm happy, you know? You might be a Fury, but you're still alive. From the bottom of my heart, I'm glad Aberano Koji wasn't the last time we saw each other. I didn't want him to die, no matter what. Even if that meant he had to become a Fury. Sorry, I guess I'm kind of selfish, huh? I knew how much pain you were dealing with, Heisuke, and yet I'm still happy. I wasn't sure if I could muster a good smile, but the smile I shared with Heisuke was the best one I could give him at the moment. Oh, too cute.
Yeah, I guess you are kind of selfish. So, I think it's only fair for you to let me be selfish.
What are you talking about?
I want you to stay with me. When we're together, it makes me happy.
Does that mean... He didn't mean forever, did he? No, surely he meant until we were out of the forest. Or something. But my attempts to temper my expectations meant nothing to my heart, which beat rapidly against my chest. Are you sure? I mean, you're really suffering right now. I couldn't do anything to help you.
Couldn't do anything? Are you serious? Man, you're even slower than I thought.
Huh? I stared at him dumbfounded, but he only laughed. After a moment, he looked at me, and though his laughter faded, his grin did not.
Thanks, Chizuru. I think if you weren't here, I would have gone nuts a long time ago.
He let go of my hand and stood, then turned and held it out. This time, he was making the move. I felt happy, and I took his hand back.
All right. We gotta hurry. If we don't get there soon, they're all gonna get lonely.
Right. It didn't matter how far away Osaka Castle was. So long as I was with Heisuke, everything would be all right. That was when I heard them. I'm going to let you guys go here. I hope you are enjoying, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.